Hi guys, it's Amy. How are you doing? I hope you've had a brilliant day. Today I did something a bit different. I went to the park near me and had a little idea to share my day with my Instagram followers, of whom I think maybe 5. Actually had a look, I'm joking, it was more than that, but I wasn't sure how interesting it would be, but I feel like there's a sort of limitation, or maybe I just see the limitation on Instagram and on email actually, where you can't fully share yourself and all your little thoughts, and it's short form content and people don't want to hear you ramble on or watch you ramble on and hear about all the little details of your day. Or maybe they do, I don't know, maybe that's just my perspective on it. But I feel like Instagram is fast content, and especially with reels and things, and email, there's only so much you can say before it feels like you're reading a book. So I thought I'd jump on and use my podcast microphone to just share a little bit about my day, because it was quite funny and I just wanted to share it with you. So this morning I woke up at 5:30, which is sort of normal for me now because, perimenopause, thank you for that. And goodness knows what else. I think I've started to grind my jaw, which no one cares about. When I wake up and it's like my jaw's clamped together, and considering I do a job which is basically about relaxing, it feels a bit odd to have that suddenly come up. So maybe that's something I need to work through, but not on a podcast. So I woke up 5:30 and I thought, do you know what? I'm going to pretend that today is my ideal day. So I got out of bed, snuck downstairs before anybody else woke up, and I did 45 minutes of kickboxing, which was awesome. And while I did that, I listened to a podcast. So I watched a kickboxing tutorial on YouTube with the volume on 0, and I put my AirPods in and listened to the podcast. So I was disturbing nobody apart from the shaking of the doors when I was doing jumping jacks. So that's how my day started. And you know what? It was dreamy because that was part of my old routine. When I used to work in an office, I would get up at the crack of dawn before everybody else because that was the only time I had for me. So I would get up. I was on a very tight schedule because I wanted as much sleep as possible, but also to fit in all the things I wanted to fit in. So I would get up at like 5:30, I think, sometimes 5, do my exercise, do my journaling, do my gratitude, have a shower, get dressed, make sure everybody was ready for whatever day they had in front of them, get them out of the house, get me out of the house, take the train, get to work, be at work for the whole day, come back, prepared dinner, the usual stuff that working parents, working families have to do. And since I work for myself, I'm much more flexible now about when I move my body, when I do my journaling and gratitude and meditation, and I teach some days and I do Reiki other days and I do sound baths other days, or sometimes all on the same day. So my routine is very different, and I think I like a routine. So today was nice because it was almost like being back in the old routine. And that's the part of the routine I liked. I like getting up. I like doing my movement early in the morning. Usually I do yoga. Today it was kickboxing. I love that too. And then I was ready by the time I had to wake my daughter up at 10 to 7. So amazing. I love it. It feels really efficient and I love being efficient. I listened to a podcast which was really funny, and yeah, it's just a good morning. So I ferried people to and from the station this morning, got them all out the house, and then I had a bit of time, so I went to the park near where I live, and it was lovely because today was really sunny. Really enjoyed it. Just a little walk. And I thought, it's been a while since I did a video, the sun's shining, there's a blue sky. And so I had an idea there and then to share my day with everybody. I mean, does anyone want to hear about my day? I don't know, but you're listening to this, so I appreciate that. Thank you so much. So after the park, I went to a local pub where there was a coffee and connect morning. I didn't have any coffee because immediately afterwards I was going to a sound bath, to host a sound bath, not to participate in one. I had said that I wouldn't be able to make it, but I thought as I'd got everything else done earlier in the morning, I had a little bit of time. So I went and said hi to them, and they're so lovely. It's a really lovely group, really supportive. And what I really like about them is that they are not into competition. There isn't a hint, there's no whiff of competition in the group. It's not about that. It's about being a supportive network. And honestly, I don't think I've ever seen that anywhere else, which it's so fresh and so lovely to witness. I'll give you an example. We were at a launch event. It's called the Glow and Bloom Sisterhood. So if you're in business on your own, or you just want to join a group who's really supportive, they're lovely. So Glow and Bloom Sisterhood. And they started up very recently. I think it was October, maybe September last year, 2025. And the two sort of organisers are Kimberly and Cheryl. They have great ideas and they really know and understand people, which I think is really important if you're bringing together a network like that, a women's networking group. But what I love about them is they are really grounded. They're very funny. They're very organised. They're very consistent. They're very understanding, and they're so supportive and really generous with their support, because often if you are, I was talking to another business owner, someone who's been in business for a while but is only just sort of putting themselves out there, and they were saying that it's so interesting how few people want to see you succeed. Like often people will talk the talk and big you up sort of before, oh yeah, of course you can do it, of course you can do it. But then when it comes to actually liking or sharing or commenting or purchasing a product or a service or whatever it might be, it's interesting how the people you thought would do that aren't always the people that would do that, and the people you didn't think would do that are the people that would do that. And I'm sort of paraphrasing what she said, but it's quite interesting. I think social media actually isn't always that great for this, because there's often a feeling of having to keep up with the Joneses. Do you know what I mean? You might start an Instagram account or Facebook or whatever. Instagram is the one I prefer. And let's say you're becoming a florist. That's your chosen profession. You want to become a florist. And so for inspiration, you start following lots of different florists. And you see what they do, and you see all the events they cater for. Is that the right word for a florist? I don't know. Like you see that they do weddings, and you see that they do birthdays and Mother's Day and Valentine's Day and funerals and all these things, and you think, oh my goodness, I haven't even done the course yet to become a florist. Or maybe you've done the course but you haven't got any customers, or maybe you've got do you know what I mean? Maybe you've just got the shop but no one knows about it, and you start comparing your chapter 1 to their chapter 25. And of course, all of a sudden you feel less than, you feel like you're sort of jealous because you want to be further ahead and you're not yet. You want to have the experience behind you to be able to talk on Instagram, do a live video of you putting together a bouquet, but you haven't even got a tripod, So it's an interesting thing to find a group who actually truly support each other and welcome multiples of the same type of business and hype them up and see them hype each other up. And the example I was going to give was, we were at the launch event, the Glow and Bloom launch event earlier this year, so January 2026, and it was just so beautiful. It was a local restaurant, they're called the Spaghetti Tree in Shirley, which was lovely. It was packed full of women who were gorgeous. There was amazing attention to detail on all the things. So they thought about the glittery stuff that was on the tables. They thought about the signs that were up. They thought about the cakes. They thought about the music. They're called Glow and Bloom. So Cheryl, who has a tanning business, had lots of little self-tanning bottles to give away, and that was the glow side. And then for the bloom, they had lots of flowers, and you could put together a bouquet of flowers for yourself. And they had a photo booth, and they'd used other people's businesses to bring together this evening. And it was just so lovely. It was really lovely. And what really struck me was they had a live singer who was amazing. She was so amazing. So she sang for a while and walked around the crowd and sang. And then she had a little break, and then somebody else started singing. They had multiple singers there who sort of took it in turns to sing, and they were all brilliant. And I didn't always see who was singing, so I could recognise a couple of the singers, because I'd seen them singing into the microphone, but there were so many people there, it was quite hard to distinguish in the end who was who. And it got to one point in the evening, and there was a lot of women sitting on this sort of bench seating, corner bench seating. And one of the singers came in and was singing into the microphone, and then she pointed the microphone at someone else's mouth. And this woman had the most amazing voice. I was like, oh my God, I hope she's not walking around trying to get random people from the room to sing, because there is no way I could even come close to the lungs of the woman before me. And so I literally ran away. But what was happening was the whole bench seating were all singers, and they were all giving each other, handing the mic over to each other to let each other shine. And it just really touched me. I thought it was so beautiful to see a group of women who do exactly the same thing, who probably have, they were singing the same song because they all knew the words to the song. They were all handing the mic around, equally as talented as each other. So from one perspective, you could say they would be in competition, really, right? They might all be wedding singers. They might all be singers for parties. They might all be singers for restaurants. But instead of competing and bitching and being jealous or pointing out flaws, they were celebrating each other. And it really sort of switched something in my brain. And I really appreciate that. It was lovely anyway. So that's what I like about this networking group, is that there are many people who do similar things, multiple hair and makeup people, multiple tanning artists, multiple Reiki practitioners, multiple sound practitioners, multiple florists and cake makers and singers. And they all cheer each other on and hype each other up. And it's just really lovely to see. So I wanted to make the time this morning to go and say hello to them and see them. So that was lovely. I nipped in, said hi, gave everybody a hug. One of the ladies just had a baby who was adorable, but I wasn't there long enough to get a cuddle. So maybe next time. And after that, I timed it so that I could sneak out and get to the sound bath I was hosting at the local care home. And this is really the bit that I wanted to share because it was just so funny. Well, it was funny to me. Maybe you had to be there. I don't know. I'll share it anyway. So I drove to the care home and I walked in. You have to, sign in. It's very nice. I think it's a retirement home. Sorry, I'm not really sure on the distinction between care home and retirement home, but I think this is a retirement home. But super lovely, gorgeous inside. It's like a 5-star hotel. I mean, really, really nice. They've got a cinema room. They have a very full calendar of activities, all of which look amazing. And I wish I could spend a week there just for fun, just to see what they all do. Everyone has their own room. There's loads of lovely, friendly, caring, kind staff walking around. It's great. So I went there. I got up in a little lift. I have my sound bowls with me. My usual group are sitting in the big lounge where they've shifted all the furniture out of the way. And with the sound bath, it's a sort of niche audience, right? I mean, if you like sitting down and sleeping, then a sound bath is probably for you. If you like relaxing, a sound bath is for you. Some people initially, I've been going for a little while now, since just over the middle of last year, I think. And, there are some people who are of a certain age really have let go of any qualms about saying exactly what they think and how they feel. And so there were some instances. The first sound bath, oh my word. Well, what I'm used to with a sound bath is, a sound bath, by the way, is where you play, well, for me, I play crystal singing bowls. Some people play gongs or Tibetan bowls, metal bowls. Some people play rain sticks and chimes and ocean drums. There's all sorts of instruments that you can use to have a sound bath, to do a sound bath. I love crystal singing bowls. They're my favourite, and that's what I use. So what I'm used to with the sound bath is everybody comes in, we say hello, we have a little chat, I give an introduction about sound and the bowls and who I am and what I do and what a sound bath is and what you might experience and all of that stuff. I just want people to feel comfortable and welcome. And then they lie down and I turn the lights off and they put their eye pillows on and they can zen out or sleep or do whatever they want while I play the bowls, basically in the dark. That's what usually happens. This was an entirely new experience for me. I have played sound baths in the day before, but again, everyone's lying down and they have their eye pillow on and they're chilling out. They're not interested in looking at me. Well, my first sound bath at the care home, I honestly, I don't know what I expected. I mean, I try not to have expectations anymore because I know that, what's even the point? You just have the experience and then you go from there. Well, they had all sorts of people in the room. Totally fine, totally fine. It might have been something they would have enjoyed, but I'm not sure that the explanation of what a sound bath is had been shared at that point. So no one was very clear on what was actually going to be happening. And they'd heard of yoga because my friend Veronica teaches chair yoga there. So they knew about that. They were very comfortable with yoga. Yoga's fine. Yoga was great. Here I am. I come in with my bowls. I put my little blanket and my pillow down. I lay the bowls out. Ooh, now what are those, dear? Are they made of plastic? Is there water in them? So I answered all the questions and they were very lovely and very interested, which was great. Immediately, one man said, "I can't hear you." And so, I'm fairly softly spoken. It sort of comes with the job, especially when you're doing a sound bath. You don't want to shout at people. But I did my best to raise the volume. I did. He was not impressed. Multiple people in the room couldn't hear me. And I thought, well, I really tried. I went around the room. I let them hold the bowls. And they seemed interested. What can I say? They seemed interested. So anyway, I encouraged them to take a really deep breath, let it go, close their eyes. I brought blankets for them the first time, but it's like 100 degrees in a care home. They all looked at me like I was completely insane. They're all sitting in easy chairs, like armchairs, in a big sort of semicircle around me, and I'm in the middle. And so I get the nod from the organizer and I start playing. Well, I mean, it's an active retirement home. And so people just sort of wander in and out. And, the carers come in, which was lovely. And they have a sit down and then their beeper goes off. And then they have to wheel somebody out or they have to wheel somebody else in. And some people are sort of muttering to themselves. Some people are trying to hum along. There's always one in the corner that's getting the Werther's Original out and crunching the wrapper. There might be relatives that come in and then they have a little sit down, but then they have to get up and go. So it's very much a toing and froing activity, the sound bath in a retirement home. It's not generally, there have been odd occasions, but it's not generally a silent and calm environment in the sense that everybody's not lying down with their eyes closed. They're sitting in a chair staring at me intently. And I mean intently as I play the bowls. Which initially I was like, oh my word, it was quite intense to be stared at, because usually I just go into my little Zen state and I try and be guided as I play. It's a very different experience. And after the first one, which was, like I said, sort of middle of last year, usually at the end, if you've been to my sound baths, at the end I leave a few minutes of silence just to let all the energy settle. And then I talk you back around. So I will say, wiggle your fingers and toes and take a deep breath and maybe have a stretch or a yawn, all that stuff. Well, I had literally just put my wands down, my silicone wands that I play with. And the man that couldn't hear got up and said, "Now look, I'm sorry, but I didn't hear anything. I have trouble hearing. I thought there was going to be some sort of movement involved. Sound baths, they're just not for me." And he left. I was like, okay. So it was kind of a baptism of fire. And I should say, everybody else seemed really interested. They loved it. They wanted more. When are you coming back? I really enjoyed it. I felt so relaxed. They loved it. It was just that one guy really who had something to say, and he said it. And the sweet person that organises everything came up to me after and he was like, "No, you will come back, won't you? You will come back next month. We just need to find the right group," because they weren't sure what it was. Anyway, so all that to say, it's never a dull moment playing a sound bath at a care home or a retirement home. But we have our core group now, the ones that come every time, and I think they must talk to their neighbours and all the other people that they see on a daily basis. And today I went, and first of all, it started out there were 4 people in there, and by the end of it, the room was full. I mean, full. And the staff came in and they were zenning out, and it was great. There was one lady in the corner who I think may have been deaf, and bless her, she stayed for the whole thing. But she decided it was a really, really good time to reorganise her handbag. So first of all, she got her pills out, you know, the like foil covered pills. So they're like crinkling. And she sort of got them all in order. And then she got her magazine out and there was some letters in there. And obviously she can't hear. So she doesn't know that there's sound coming from her and her handbag organisation in the corner. So the regulars know, close your eyes, chill out, try and ignore everything else that's going on. Then the dishwasher starts going because it's their lounge, right? So they've got a little beautiful little coffee station. It's all garden facing, which is lovely. But then the gardener comes out with his, I don't know, cutting down a tree. I mean, you seriously, you can't make it up. It's hilarious. It's hilarious. I love it. I just... I feel like now I could do a sound bath in a hurricane because, you know, there's either someone that can't hear who's talking really loudly, or people coming in and out, you know, being wheeled in or walked in and out. You've got doors slamming, you've got people talking loudly in the corridor, you've got the dishwasher on, you've got the lady with the metal bottle and the metal lid, and, you know, she's sort of like clanging them together. I'm trying to find some metal so I can... Like she's, well, I need a drink of water now. Let me open my bottle and then close the bottle. And then you've got the people who are maybe less aware, I would say, who hum along or have something to say and just say it. No, they just let it out. Just go for it. Just have a little chat, guys. It's brilliant. It's so funny. I love it. And so today was hilarious with the dishwasher and the gardener and the lady organising her handbag. And like 15 latecomers. And you know what? I just played through it all and I thought, look how far I've come. It didn't faze me one bit. In fact, I just thought, this is amazing and I really should record a podcast about it. Lovely. So that was a lot of fun. And then a few people wanted to have a play. Well, they didn't want to have a play. What happened was one of the organisers said, oh, why don't you let everybody play one of the bowls? And the bowls are made of crystal, okay? They're crystal bowls. And I said, sure, that's fine. And do you know what? I have walked around with the bowls before and showed them because initially they thought they were plastic and then they wondered if there was water in them. And then, you know, lots of questions. So I'm always happy to talk about the bowls, always happy to let people have a hold, see how heavy they are, see what they're made of, you know, tap them on the side. So the organiser very generously suggested that I take the bowls round and let people have a play. So I took the biggest one. It was fine. I just, you know, was careful to hold it very tightly and careful that they didn't whack the bowl too hard and shatter it into a million pieces, thereby removing my ability to play sound baths anymore. I walked around the room and everyone had a little play with the bowls. It was quite sweet and they could feel the vibration then. It was good. It was nice. So I packed up, got back in the car and then came home to have some lunch, which was great, but it looks so nice outside. It's a really lovely sunny day today, cold but sunny, and so I thought it would be really nice to go and have a skate in the park. So I got my roller skates, packed them in the car, went to the aerodrome, which is where I skate. There's a bit there that I like to skate on. It's smooth, not too smooth, just smooth enough, next to some grass, really nice. And then came back and in theory, I'm doing some work now. I mean, I'm not really doing some work. I'm talking to you, but it's been a fun day. It's been a good day. And I enjoyed sharing parts of my day on Instagram. I mean, I have a sort of love-hate relationship with Instagram. I don't like how much time it consumes of my time or anybody else's. I feel like it really is a black hole sometimes. And I'm the kind of person that likes to be productive. I like to get things done. If I set my mind to something, I want to do it, I want to do it straight away. And if I don't get it done, it feels like it's sort of hanging over me. So I'm not really a fan of it for that, but I do enjoy the connection or the feeling of connection. Is it real connection? I don't know. But I do enjoy that feeling of connection and chatting to people, because it's a fun thing to work on your own and have your own business and do your own thing and organize your own timetable. And I get to talk to a lot of people and I love it. But it's not the same as doing the same job as someone, working for the same company where you have shared experiences, or oh, do you remember when that happened or this happened, or you go to the same meeting and then you can talk about it afterwards. Really, when you're an entrepreneur, you can talk about lots of things, but there's no one really that understands what you do like you do. So often it's sort of talking to yourself. I like Instagram for the ability to share with other people. That's lovely. I'm not so much of a fan of the idea that social media makes us the product. Our attention is the product and they're selling our attention. And your attention is precious, right? Your attention is your energy, and your energy is sort of like a currency. You pay attention, you pay money, you pay attention. It's the same sort of thing. So the more aware I become of how vital it is to protect our energy, how vital it is to be intentional about how we spend our energy and what we pay attention to, the more careful and cautious I am about how much time I spend on social media. I even bought a padlock, one of those padlock devices to lock my phone. But the thing with running your own business is you need to be available. You need to be contactable. So it's a tricky one. Anyway, so then I came back from the park and then did one more video for Instagram and thought I want to talk to somebody about what happened at the care home, because it was brilliant. And so now I'm recording this podcast for you. So that was my day. Thank you so much for listening. It's been fun talking to you about it, and have a great evening. Bye.